Imagine a killer so cunning, he used stolen hospital insulin to mimic natural death. His victims, women selling food or their bodies on the streets of Accra, never saw it coming. A needle prick, a sudden dizziness, then darkness. Charles Ebo Kwanzaa, the Accra Strangler, didn't just take lives. He collected their blood in vials, believing it would grant him power. For 7 years, Ghana's police force chased shadows, until a single witness changed everything. This isn't just a story about murder. It's about how one man's brutality exposed the cracks in an entire system, forcing a nation to confront its darkest truths. But Kwanzaa wasn't Africa's first monster. Decades earlier, in the dusty streets of early 1900 South Africa, Pierre Basson was carving his own legacy of terror. Yet it would take 75 years for anyone to call him what he was: a serial killer. Why did it take so long? And what does that say about how Africa remembers its crimes? From the blood-soaked rituals of Accra to the birth of African crime fiction, this is the untold history of mystery and murder on the continent. The Accra Strangler's reign began in 1993, in the Mahiko and Dansman suburbs of Accra. His victims were women society had already forgotten: sex workers, food sellers, the invisible poor. Kwanzaa's method was chillingly precise. He'd stalk them after dark, between 8 p.m. and dawn, injecting them with enough insulin to induce hypoglycemic shock. To the untrained eye, it looked like natural death. But Kwanzaa wasn't done. With the bodies still warm, he'd drain their blood into glass vials, whispering to spirits only he could see. Juju, they called it, a ritual to harness their life force. By the time police connected the dots, over 30 women were dead. The breakthrough came in 2000, when a witness spotted Kwanzaa near a fresh crime scene. Under interrogation, he confessed to 20 murders, though DNA later tied him to more. His 2001 life sentence was justice, but the real victory came afterward. Ghana built its first DNA lab, a direct result of Kwanzaa's crimes. Yet this story isn't just about forensics. It's about why his victims were so easy to ignore. Sex workers in Accra still face violence today, their deaths often dismissed as occupational hazards. Kwanzaa preyed on that indifference. Meanwhile, in South Africa, Pierre Basson's early 1900s killing spree went unrecognized as serial murder until the 1970s. The delay wasn't just bureaucratic, it reflected a gap in how Africa understood its own monsters. While Western criminology coined terms like serial killer, Basson's victims were treated as isolated tragedies. The same continent that birthed humanity was late to name its darkest shadows. But Africa wasn't just a stage for crime, it was also crafting its own stories. In 1974, Nigerian author Cole Omatoso published Fella's Choice, the first African crime novel in English. His hero wasn't Sherlock Holmes but a chameleon-like spy, rooted in African soil. By 1998, scholars confirmed a thriving African crime fiction tradition, one that grappled with corruption, politics, and spiritual terror. Even earlier, in 1899, South Africa's Moordenaars Hoek blended ghost stories with murder, proof that Africa's fascination with crime predated colonial detective tropes. Today, the Accra Strangler's case is a grim lesson. Ghana's DNA lab stands as a monument to progress, but violence against marginalized women persists. Pierre Basson's belated classification reminds us how easily patterns are missed. And the rise of African crime fiction? That's the silver lining, a continent telling its own stories, on its own terms. The next time you hear about a murder in Accra or Johannesburg, ask yourself, who's writing the narrative? And whose voices are being left out?